in an east to northeast fashion. Now, they're not going to hold in that same form all throughout their trek across the northern Gulf region, but that system with a lot of energy, a lot of wind motion with that low pressure center over Texas, is going to start to influence our section of the atmosphere by forcing more showers and storms to form, more than likely across sections of the Mississippi Valley overnight and riding across northern and central Alabama, and then reaching the tri-state region most likely around or after sunrise. But it's going to be the afternoon that we really have to monitor for individual storms that can flare up and cause some pretty quick strengthening. That can also lead to gusty winds, maybe a few of those cells that can produce some large hail because of the very strong upward motion that we have with some of these storms, and of course the risk for tornadoes. As we go into the evening hours, the activity tends to fade out a bit as it moves to the east. Let's take a closer inspection of this in our forecast and focus, and then in a few moments we'll look at another forecast guidance that shows something very similar. Scattered activity starts to band together, passing through the tri-state region by midday, if not a little bit before. This tends to have more of a South Georgia focus, which I think is reasonable, but there are other indicators that maybe there could be more of a southern flank that goes across the interior sections of North Florida. So here's that version that I'm speaking of, and this is a short-term, rapidly updated version of the forecast and focus that goes out about 12 hours. And by 7, 8 o'clock, we already see a pretty solid line beginning to cross the Chattahoochee River by about 8 to 9 a.m. And usually with these systems, they can move a little faster than what the guidance tends to indicate. So we do have to keep that in mind, that it's not just going to be in the afternoon, but we could have at least some early morning showers and storms on the rough side across southern Alabama, and then across the entire region essentially for the bulk of the daytime hours. That orange shade means that there's likely numerous occurrences of severe thunderstorms, which includes the state line region, Interstate 10, and all of South Georgia. Coastal zones doesn't mean you're going to sit on the sidelines necessarily. You can get some gustier thunderstorms later on, and it seems like the wind gust threat will be at the highest risk scale. But that tornado risk is a little concerning compared to past severe weather events that we've had. There's just a little more wind motion, a little more support for maybe a couple of those supercells, as we call them, that can form seemingly in the